Stop letting the opinions of other people run your life. If only it were that simple, right? This is one of those statements that is super popular. As we have more life experiences, you likely start to see the truth behind it, but it's also one of those that you're just like, ugh, I hate it. I hate it. So today we're going to dive into a conversation around what it means, what it looks like, and why it matters to stop letting the opinions of other people run your life. If you're new around here, tuning in, my name is Chelsea Connors. I started a mental wellness company where I infuse my trainings and my skills as a former psychotherapist and as a certified life coach to make mental wellness feel realistic, tangible, and approachable, as well as deepening the relationship with yourself so that you can make decisions that help you cultivate a life that you actually want to be living. How relevant for our topic today. And this is one of the truths of life that most of us can get around when it comes to logic or conceptually understanding it. But it's another one that feels really challenging when it comes to putting it into practice. And one of the things that I recognize and I'm also really grateful for in a lot of ways is that a lot of people that I connect with and that show up to do this type of work and enter this type of conversation are really caring people who want to do good in the world, people who want to have a positive impact here, people who care. Sometimes people walk into this community and describe themselves as a people pleaser or as somebody who can be overly empathetic. That's why I think it's so important to flesh out this conversation. And as I was thinking about recording this video and how much I had to say around it, I knew that I wanted to show up with you in a really raw and authentic way, right? Because it's really hard sometimes to not let the opinions of other people dictate how you live your life, how you make decisions, what you do or don't pursue. And yet it is equally as important. And I share that with so much weight behind it because witnessing this was one of the biggest contributing factors to why I started this company and my business and why I do the work that I do in the world now. Because when I was back training as a therapist, it was so baffling to me to sit with human after human after human from so many different walks of life and hear their stories and see the parts of them that felt the most raw or the hardest to look at or acknowledge. And then to see the ways in which they would grapple with making a decision that they knew in their heart and in their soul needed to be made to honor themselves. But then the noise of the world or of certain people that had significance to them would get in the way and they would choose the opposite because somebody else thought that was the better decision. Or they told themselves somebody else would feel disappointed, angry, upset, unsupportive if they honored what they needed. And hands up if you've ever had that experience, because I certainly have, and I think most of us here have, of knowing something in your heart and in your soul and yet feeling so conflicted about what to do because we're not sure what other people would think about you or how they would feel or how they would respond or how they would react if you honored that knowing and did something that they might not agree with or they may not understand. And so I want you to think about playing this out a bit further. And if you're living from that place right now where most of the decisions that you make in your life or most of what your world looks like at this moment is based around the opinions of other people, please know that I'm sharing this from such a space of compassion and love and just spaciousness for you. Again, the fact that you're here, that you're engaging in this community, that you're showing up, listening, having this conversation with yourself internally, with me here virtually, that is huge. That is huge. But this is the thing, right? this is how I see this playing out, is when you continue to live from that space, what happens is you end up making decisions that actually feel like viscerally wrong for you sometimes. Or you start to lose that connection with who you really are, what really matters to you, what you really want for your life, what it feels like and sounds like to use your voice, until eventually maybe you don't hear it anymore. Maybe you don't feel connected to yourself deeply. And then when we think about that from a mental health perspective, that might be where anxiety floods in, or overwhelming sadness, or where you wake up every day feeling the weight of the world on your shoulders, questioning how you ended up here, what the point is. How understandable when you're not living a life that you chose, that you got a say in, that you learn to lead and live and decide from your internal compass. So though it may feel like sometimes making decisions based on the opinions of other people it shows up in more trivial ways, right? Like, am I gonna go out tonight? What are my friends gonna think about me? If I say no, they might think I'm a loser. They're gonna say this about me. They're gonna judge me in X, Y, and Z way. Do that enough times and don't honor maybe the part of you that's learning that you're more introverted, or the part of you that needs more rest and solitude than you used to. That's going to impact your health, your energy, your sense of self, your relationship with your friends. And part of that might be them and how they respond. And if some of those judgments are true, or you've had that experience, that's valid. I hear about things like that happening all the time. But it's also going to impact the story that you build about who you are as a person when you deny your own truth, or you live your life to avoid having any challenging opinions from other people. In the long term, I can guarantee you that this is not gonna have the outcome that you want in your life. So I want to invite you to start to notice, first just start noticing, when does that desire to please and appease and get all of the positive reinforcement, or when the opinions of other people are really loud, when that is dictating how you live, who you are, and how you decide, just start taking note of it. Cultivate more awareness around it. What does that bring up in your physical body? How does that feel for you? What stories do you then create about who you are or who you are not, what you are capable of or what you are not capable of? And what are the practices, skills, techniques, conversations that help you quiet that internal dialogue, or quiet the opinions of other people, so that you can start to tune into you, so that you can hear yourself again, your true self, not your egoic self, your true self. And you can find that center again and again and again as life continues to challenge you, as more people continue to speak up and speak out or share their opinions, or maybe you're unlearning some of these practices that have been deeply embedded in who you are. It's gonna take some time and some practice to unlearn this and start to normalize and validate for yourself over and over and over again that you are worthy and capable of making decisions based on you, that you have the answers within you. And this is something that I say ad nauseum in all of my programs with all of my clients, is that I trust you to be the expert on you. I am not here, no matter what our relationship is, whether you're a client or you end up enrolling in one of my programs, or our relationship really is YouTube or social media or wherever else you may be watching this, in whatever way, I know that you know you better. I could never know that. And I'm never here to tell you what to do, but I am happy and thrilled actually to give you more skills and questions and reflections and insights that help you find and connect with more of yourself. Because that is really how I have seen people change their lives. People find themselves again. People allow themselves to grow and change and evolve in ways that are mind-boggling. All of this, right, is just so deeply embedded in my heart because I believe that we could live in such a different world if we all started to navigate this with more love and compassion and understanding for ourselves. And then we're able to share that with the world around us rather than feeling like we just need to check the boxes, please everybody else, or only hear what the outside world might think, because that's maybe not your truth. And no one can know unless you cultivate that inner knowing first and foremost. So this is a lot of what coaching work actually looks like, right? Is when we can't see outside, you can't see outside yourself. What sounding boards do you have? What reflectors allow you to look at things from a different perspective, hear a different voice that isn't telling you what to do, that isn't placing another opinion on you, but is instead inviting you to call that forward within yourself and practice this over and over and over and over again. I have seen how transformative this work can be. So I'm so glad that you are tuning into this conversation right now. I hope that you will share this video maybe with somebody else that needs to hear this as well, and invite them into the conversation if they need to be here, if you feel like they could get value from this also. That would be beautiful. And if you're wanting to take the next step, or you're wanting to learn more about working together, go ahead and just tap on the links below this video and we can connect in other spaces, or you can learn about my programs and current offerings, and I would love to see you in there. So much to share. Sending you all the love. Until next time.